Hello, and today we're going to be reviewing the Hart HGPC011 20-volt power cleaner. So let's go ahead and get started. Starting off at the bottom and rear of the tool, we have the battery compartment. The battery compartment will house any of Hart's 20-volt batteries, and overall does a good job of protecting the battery from any sort of stray water sprays or splashes. The compartment is not 100% waterproof, so do not submerge the tool with your battery inside it, but overall it does provide an adequate amount of protection for your battery, so it gets a pass. And also the battery connector on the inside does seem to do a good job of keeping the battery firmly in place without much wiggling or jiggling, so overall I'm fairly happy with just the overall design when it comes to the battery on this particular tool. Okay, next up we have the grip. Now the grip on this particular tool is a little bit narrower than Ryobi's grip on their power cleaner, but overall I actually find it a little bit more comfortable to hold since I have smaller sized hands. The rubberized texture on the grip is fairly comfortable and very grippy. I think it's actually a little bit more grippy than Ryobi's rubberized texture, which I actually kind of prefer on the Hart. Now, will it last as long as Ryobi's rubberized texture? Well, we'll just have to wait and see, but overall I haven't had any major complaints with the rubberized texture on this particular tool, so it gets a pass. The grip, like I said earlier, feels more comfortable in my smaller sized hands, but I don't think you'll have any issue regardless of what sized hands you have holding this tool. So overall, the grip and rubberized texture on this particular tool will get a pass. Okay, next up we have the safety switch. The safety switch is a simple side-to-side safety switch that is embedded in the grip of the tool. Overall, it's very similar to Ryobi's safety switch. However, Ryobi's safety switch has a little bit more of a recessed design, and the Hart's isn't as recessed, meaning it's a lot easier to accidentally press or engage. I noticed this several times while using the tool, and it's a little bit annoying because when you accidentally engage the safety, it'll take you a second to turn off the safety and then re-engage the trigger, and then in that amount of time, your siphon that you've gotten going with your hose, if you're using the siphon hose, will lose some of the water, and it'll take a little bit longer to get the tool running again at full power, and it's just a little bit annoying. It's not a deal breaker, but this is definitely something that needs to be changed in the design of this particular tool. Okay, next up we have the trigger. Now the trigger on this particular tool is a fairly simple trigger. It's not a variable speed trigger, it's a simple on and off trigger, and it engages about almost halfway when you pull the trigger. So overall there really is nothing special that stands out on this particular trigger, and it does its job, so it gets a pass. Okay, next up we have the Quick Connect hose connector. Now, I ended up replacing my Quick Connect simply because, well, I have my own personal little water tanks that I use with these particular tools, and the original Quick Connect isn't compatible with the Quick Connects that I use for my portable water tanks. Now, the Quick Connect I replaced it for works just fine with the original siphon hose, and so that's what I usually do the review on when I do one of these particular tools. And if you do end up needing to replace the Quick Connect, well, you can easily replace it for about $4 at your local Walmart if you find one of their Quick Connect hose kits. So overall the Quick Connect works just fine, the original and the replacement, and so I don't have any issues with the overall design. If you do end up needing to replace the Quick Connect, it's fairly easy to unscrew, and when you unscrew it, it will reveal its particle filter or the fine particulate filter or the large debris filter, whatever you want to call it, on the inside just before it goes into the inside of the tool. And if you are having any sort of pressure issue with the tool, I would suggest checking the screen to make sure it's not clogged up with any sort of debris. And if you do undo the Quick Connect on this particular tool and want to screw in a regular garden hose to the tool itself, you can do that as well. I just don't really see the point in doing that on this particular or this sort of tool, but it's up to you. Overall, it's a fairly simple design, and I don't really have any major issues with it, so it gets a pass. Okay, next up we have the wand. Now the wand is about 27 inches long and is split up into two pieces. The first piece screws into the body of the tool, and it has proprietary threading, so if you're hoping to screw in another sort of wand, you're going to be out of luck. And at the end of the first extension piece, you have the accessory port where you plug in either the extension for the wand or the foam cannon. If you want to use the wheel brush that comes with the Hart, you can screw that into the body of the tool, but personally I find the wheel brush to be a waste of time, but we'll cover that here in a second. The wand is the exact same one that comes with Ryobi's power cleaner, or at least the first generation power cleaner, the RY120350, and overall is interchangeable with the Ryobi if you need to replace the wand and you can't find a replacement from Hart. Overall, the design is fairly simple, but will do the job just fine, and I don't have any major complaints. Although I think Ryobi's updated design on their original power cleaner features a accessory port that you can plug directly into the body instead of having to use the extension wand piece. So I think that would have been a better design, but as the design goes, it's a decent design, and for the price you're paying, you're actually getting more stuff with the Hart, so it gets a pass. Okay, next up we have the nozzles. The nozzles are permanently attached at the end of the second wand, and you will have 3 options for the nozzle settings. And those settings are rinse, turbo, and 15 degree. Now, while those 3 settings are pretty much all you'll need for most clean jobs, it would have been nice to also include the 0 degree or the jet setting, simply because there's a lot of situations where you just need a concentrated single stream that doesn't move around like the turbo setting. I really think Ryobi or Hart or TTI, the parent company, need to do a redesign on their turret head, simply because there are other manufacturers in the same price range that include the 0 degree as well as several additional settings at the same price. So quite frankly, this is an area that needs some improvement. It's not that the turret head is bad or the nozzles are bad, it's just that for the price you can get more from other companies. So if you're not locked into the Hart system, maybe look elsewhere if you're looking for more settings. Okay, next up we have the tire brush, or the brush. Overall, the brush is, well, it's not very good. I don't think it does a very good job, and I don't think the bristles are all that good. I don't think that the extension is really long enough for a lot of scenarios. And the water pressure that comes out at the end of the brush just doesn't do a good job of getting where you need to get it in order to wash something. I don't really think it's all that useful. I don't think that very many people will find this brush all that special. And I really think there could be some improvement done here, but that's just my own opinion. You may like it, I just don't. Okay, the tire brush was kind of a failure, but the foam can attachment actually is fairly effective. It does a good job at spraying foam, and it has some options that you can control the attachment with. There's a knob directly above the tank that you can control just how much chemical is being let out of the sprayer tank, and you can adjust the sprayer nozzle in a 360-degree pattern, so you have pretty much any, well, setting that you might need for spraying from side to side or up or down. So at the end of the day, I have to say I actually am fairly happy with just the overall effectiveness of this particular attachment, and you can actually use it on Ryobi's Easy Clean lineup since they have the same proprietary connectors. So it gets a pass. Okay, next up we have the hose. Now the hose is about 20 feet long and is fairly lightweight and is made up of a braided tubing. Overall, it seems to do a fairly good job. Now, the hose has a filter at the end of it, and the filter will keep all the larger debris from entering the hose and eventually into the tool to protect your tool. And if you unscrew the filter, you can clean the filter, or you can screw the hose end onto a spigot or onto another hose in order to have a direct connection into a pressurized water source. Next up, we have the bucket clip. Now, the bucket clip is not really all that effective. It falls off fairly easily, and I think they need to redesign it slightly, but it still is somewhat functional, so it just barely squeaks by with a pass. And next up we have the float. The float is a foam ball that has a hole in it, and the hose goes through the hole. It's in order to keep the hose from touching the bottom of, say, a lake or a river and sucking up mud into the tool. I think it's effective. It seems to keep the bottom of the hose from going too deep in the water when I tested it in a stock tank, so overall it still gets a pass. And last but not least, we have the Quick Connect. The Quick Connect seems to be fairly effective at keeping the hose attached to the tool, and I've tried it with several different brands of aftermarket Quick Connect attachment points, and it seems to work fine on all of them. Overall, I'm fairly happy with the design, and I think it does a good job, so it gets a pass. Without a battery, the tool weighs 2,029 grams, which is a little bit under 4.5 pounds. And with a 4 amp hour battery, it weighs 2,663 grams, which is just about 6 pounds. Okay, let's talk about the power cleaner's performance. Overall, this power cleaner has a fairly average performance for a power cleaner. You're not going to be getting the same amount of power that you would be, say, from a power washer, but it is good for small jobs such as cleaning, say, the bottom of your weed whacker or lawnmower, spraying the bird poop off your lawn chairs or decking, or just doing the occasional dirt removal from a carpet or something that might have gotten muddy. That is a throw carpet or something. Overall, this isn't really going to be my go-to tool for, well, large jobs such as cleaning your vehicle or just cleaning off the sidewalk, or say from your house to the street or something. And this just is going to take too much time, and I don't really think it's going to be effective enough to get that hard debris or hardened debris and that grime that's been there for weeks on end. It's great for fresh messes, and that really is about it. I think this tool has a place, and I really think its place where it shines is probably on remote cleaning applications, such as going to the river or beach and spraying the mud off your children or pets. And I think that this is a good option for if you're trying to conserve water, since the amount of water that sprays out is right around 0.7 gallons per minute, which is better than most pressure washers that are usually over a gallon per minute. So it's great for conserving water, and it's great for remote cleaning where you don't necessarily have a power source to power your pressure washer, or a pressure washer would just be overkill. So with that being said, I don't really think that this tool is something everybody needs to own. If you are looking for a pressure washer, you should buy a pressure washer and not a power cleaner. There is a difference. And each tool has its own purposes, and I own both sorts of tools. And I'm fairly happy with the performance that I'm getting out of this for particular jobs. Now, I will say that this isn't the tool that I reach for much anymore, simply because since Ryobi came out with their HP Easy Clean, that's the tool I end up using most of the time, simply because I have the option of different power settings. And, well, quite frankly, it's just more powerful, and you can adapt batteries over from different brands, unlike this particular tool that you are stuck with Hart batteries, since there really are no functioning Hart adapters for their more powerful tools. You can find a couple adapters for their cheaper lights, but other than that, you really are going to be kind of stuck up the creek without a paddle if you're trying to adapt batteries over from, say, DeWalt or Makita. But, like I said before, if you are in the Hart system, this isn't a bad tool to look at if you need something for remote cleaning, or just something that's not as powerful as a pressure washer. So, at the end of the day, it really is going to be sort of up to what your personal needs are and what you might be looking for. Like I said earlier, if you're looking for a pressure washer, this just isn't going to cut it, and you're going to be better off with buying an actual pressure washer. Okay, let's go through the pros and cons. Okay, first up we have the battery housing. The battery housing will protect the battery from stray streams of water or splashes, and overall will just keep your battery nice and dry. So I would consider this to be a pro. Cordless. Overall, the fact that this is cordless means that you'll be able to use it in a variety of different situations where you might not typically have a pressurized water source. Say when you're at the lake or beach or river or somewhere where you just won't have access to a pressurized water source. So in my opinion, having a cordless power cleaner is definitely a pro. Long wand. Overall, having a long wand is definitely a useful feature on this particular tool and will come in handy in a variety of different situations, whether it's up high or down low, or just not wanting to get dirty. This is definitely a pro in my opinion. Foam attachment. Overall, the foam can attachment is very useful and will come in handy in a variety of different situations. I'm really glad they decided to include it with this particular tool, since the Ryobi does not include this attachment. And the first mat is price. The price of this power cleaner is right at $100, and I think that's a little bit high considering the performance. I will say that this is a better value than Ryobi's power cleaner because it comes with 2 additional attachments that the Ryobi does not come with. So at the end of the day, it's up to you. But if you are looking to adapt batteries over, the Hart is not going to be the right choice for that. And the first con is the Hart battery. Well, it's not really the battery that's the con, it's just the whole configuration. Currently, there are no third-party adapters for adapting batteries over from other brands, say DeWalt, Makita, or Milwaukee, and so you're going to be stuck with having to use Hart's battery. Now, Hart batteries aren't bad, it's just the fact that if you're not invested in the Hart system, it's going to be a pain to buy Hart batteries just in order to use this tool. So, in my opinion, this is a con. 3 nozzle settings. Overall, the 3 nozzle settings that they include are useful and they will get the majority of jobs done. But there are some settings that I'm missing, and I really would like there to be a 0 degree or a 40 degree nozzle setting on this particular tool, because that really would help on some of the jobs and help finish up some jobs quicker. So at the end of the day, this is a little bit of a negative. Tire brush. The tire brush is an interesting accessory. I just don't think it's really worth the time to unscrew the wand, to screw in the tire brush, and then when you get done with the tire brush, to screw the wand back in after having to unscrew the tire brush. It just takes too much time, and it's not a very smooth operation, and it just isn't effective at getting water to where you're cleaning. So in my opinion, it's kind of a worthless accessory. No additional power setting. The fact you don't have a low power option means that you're going to be limited on what you can spray down with this particular tool at a close range. And in my opinion, this is a little bit of a disappointment, but it's not a deal breaker by any means. It just means that you'll have to stand a little bit further back if you're going to be spraying down something sensitive. And that is it for the pros and cons. Final thoughts on this particular power cleaner. Overall, this power cleaner is about middle of the pack when it comes to a power cleaner. There really is nothing that stands out except for the fact it comes with some additional accessories that other power cleaners don't come with. At the end of the day, if you're in the Hart system and you're looking for a battery-operated power cleaner, I think this is a decent choice. But if you're looking for a power washer, you're going to be disappointed if you buy this. And if you're just looking for a power cleaner and you're going to be adapting batteries over, this is not a good candidate since there are no battery adapters that will allow you to use, say, DeWalt or Milwaukee batteries or Makita batteries with this particular tool. If you're looking for a power cleaner and you're adapting batteries over from another brand, I'd highly suggest maybe looking at the Ryobi HP Easy Clean. It's a little bit more expensive, but it will definitely provide you with better performance, and overall you can find adapters to use with that particular tool. So it just is up to you on what you personally need or are looking for. So would I recommend this tool? If you're in the Hart system and you need a power cleaner and you're okay with the performance, then absolutely. But if you're not in the Hart system, I'd probably say pass. I don't think it's really worth buying into the Hart system just for this cleaner. And that is it for this video. If you liked it, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. God bless.